Buongiorno. 7
Ciao,
p.m.
buonasera.
Buonasera, Lisa. Come stai?
Tutti bene.
Bene?
E voi?
Che buono. I am very pleased to be with you tonight. Thank you for joining us. 7 o'clock. We Zoom every Wednesday to get some great people together, taste some amazing wines. And this is no exception. So let's get started. We're going to jump right in. And for those of you sharing bottles, I'm going to take you through the order real quick so that you can take a look, okay? Let me get that going on here. Let's see. Boom. Does that work? Yeah, that should work. Let's go there. We're going to go from the Schiopetto in wine number 1.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Oh, that's me. Hold on. I got to
7
down.
p.m.
Buonasera.
Buonasera, Lisa.
Change that YouTube makes me make that go away. Sorry about that. All right, so Schiopetto, then Edie Keebler, wine number 2. We're gonna go to Vietti to taste some Timorasso. Then we taste some Querciabella Batàr. Did I tell you that we're tasting some great wines tonight? Because we are. One of the legends down from Sicily, the Salvo Foti. And then we'll finish with something that'll knock you out. La Stoppa. Perfect place to stop, don't you think? La Stoppa. Let's get going. This is our presentation on great wines of Italy. And here we go. Chat it up at the bottom. Love to hear some chatter about some of the wines we're tasting. This is your Zoom. Jump right in and chat with me if there's anything you want to ask. You can put it in the chat or just wait for the appropriate moment when I can ask for questions and I'll have you speak right up. Here we go. Wine number 1, Schiopetto. I sold these wines many years ago. When I started in the wine business, we had an incredible Italian portfolio, and we had all these Italian men working at the company because Italian restaurants bought wine from Italian men and women, but mostly it was a men-driven sales force that slowly started to transition to more women than men. But the Italians were just super loyal to their own peeps. So I would like, oh, you want to buy some of this? You want to buy some of that? And oh, you have questions about Italian wines? I would just defer to the Italian specialists until I got a job working for an Italian wine porter, and I became the Italian wine specialist. Still can't pronounce many of the words, but I do my best. And I've now traveled up and down Italy. I've traversed most of it, and it's one of my favorite places to visit. The wines are remarkable. The acidity is unrelenting. They make you, they quench your thirst. They make your mouth water. They're beautiful. They're clean. They're the price value relationship with an Italian wine is hard to beat anywhere in the world. This is no exception right here. This is Ribolla Gialla. This is from Friuli in the northern part of Italy. Just think about the geography up there. We're talking way up here. You know, got Slovenia right nearby. You've got the Alps. You've got Germany. You've got Austria, and the Dolomites and the mountains, creating all this stone conversion and lots of altitude, amazing cool weather. And these are the grape varieties that they grow in Friuli. Of course, very famous for Pinot Grigio. There's a grape called Friuliano that is very focused on this region. Chardonnay, and then some red varieties like Merlot, Cab Franc, Refosco, and Schioppettino. Here's a look at the bottle again. And let's go forward. Here's our little producer, started in 1989, not the oldest in the business. But remember the condition of Italy after World War II. It took 30, 40 years for business to really kind of find its ground and for new things to start to matriculate. And Mario Schiopetto came forward and really had a vision for the land and for the varieties, brought some really top practices with him, and immediately kind of found high tier acceptance. The restaurateurs all, sang the praises by the early 1990s. So very soon after starting, people were hearing about the wines, and it took hold and progressed. In 2014, though, uh, the Mario, the founder of the winery, passed, and it turned over to the next family, and they are honoring his tradition and keeping his quality standards, and the wines continue to get a very impressive track record of scores and mentions and accolades. This particular wine, Ribolla Gialla, we'll have a couple of wines tonight that'll have this grape variety involved. This happens to be 100% Ribolla Gialla. Ribolla is a very prominent variety in this area. It is perfectly suited for the very stony, cool, mountainous terrain, and really shows off that character in the wine. Let's take a look at it. The nose is delicate. It's very focused. You can really smell all of that rock shining right through this beautiful array of things like melon, citrus peel. It makes my mouth water just smelling this wine. Every time I do an Italian dinner, I try to include this particular wine in the show because it has a track record of blowing people's minds, and they love it. It's very enjoyable. It's got, Pinot Grigio is really a great grape variety, but a lot of people are like, another Pinot Grigio. This one's just got like another gear, a texture to it, a silkiness, uh, it's very pliable, very tactile. And I really love that about this wine. The nose also just so beautiful and so stimulating. Here's the review from James Suckling, 93 points, very flinty, white pepper, cantaloupe.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Full-bodied and steely at the same time. It's very flavorful and focused at the finish. Drink now. I show you this picture because I think this is a much better look. This is looking from the backyard forward, and you can just see the wonderful exposition there. It's got that nice slope, downward slope. $20. $20. It's a great find. Looking at my numbers here, I wonder how much I have left as of tonight when we Zoom. If we run out, I'll get more. No problem. It'll be back. I did buy heavily last January, 4 months ago. Probably brought in 5 cases of this wine. I'll do another 5 case drop to make sure I got a great price because this wine, you'll see it around town up closer to $30. And I buy it, in a pretty good swath, and they give me a little bit of a discount, and I pass that along. A great find, great price, hard to beat it. Love it. Hope you did too.
That was nice. Did you say it's all steel or
Stainless steel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very little wood used in this part of the world. Um, they drive a lot of German automobiles up here, a lot of Germanic speaking Very clean, very crispy, very focused, very fresh. And that leads us right into our second producer with this remarkable wine. Number one is one of my favorites. This is even higher up the food chain in my mind. Keber. This is Collio Bianco, which means that it's a blended variety from the exact same area. Um, and here again, another look at the map, see where we're at. Teenier producer, but they go back 350 years. So really a very historic family there. Small grower, working their way up, making their name, staying their course. The young Christian Keber is now following his father's footsteps and operating the winery, keeping it real. So no, a very functioning, highly functioning uh, grower producer, very centered around the town of Collio, which is an upscale vineyard area. Grapes sell for a premium. They're probably most famous for their Pinot Grigio there, but here, 70% Friuli-Ano, 15 Ribolla Gialla, and 15 Malvasia Instriana. Malvasia Instriana. It is a strain of Malvasia. Malvasia is planted in a number of places, but this is a kind of a particular style of Malvasia that's grown here. Okay, so just take a gander at some of the typical overview type of descriptions of Friuliano. Got somebody else coming in. Hi, Dave. Heavily associated with Friuli. Typically makes lively, crisp, aromatic grapes meant to be drunk, or wine meant to be drunk young. Citrus, floral, almond, touch of minerality. Okay, you add some of that with a good chunk of that with some Ribolla, and you get a little more texture there. And then some Malvasia, very aromatic grape variety. Make a lot of dessert wines from Malvasia too. And so citrus, floral, mineral, get that nice combination, very regionalized blend. Here's the young Kristen Keber. That's the guy on the right. He spells it with a K. And his dog with his partner. And this wine got 92 points. I'm a little bit more bullish on this wine than that 92-point review. But I'm a little bit under the spell of this wine. I love this. You can see the vineyards are very prolific in this part of the zone. It's a grape growing paradise. Wonderful amounts of sunshine and crispy cold air blowing through. This is $40. Talk, taste it with you guys, get your reaction. The first wine was very singular, very focused. This wine pushes a little bit all over the place. You're gonna have things like that same melon, maybe a little orange peel zest, some really nice nuances, a little bit of lees stirring, a little bit of I think the aromatics of the Malvasia come popping out of the glass a little bit. The better, I think the quality here kind of gives you a little bit more weight, a little more grip.
I'm sorry, the aromatics of what?
The Malvasia. Malvasia being the grape variety, it's a very prominent grape variety in the dessert wine industry. And you got Malvasia planted in all over the Mediterranean. And it's often used for dessert wine, even in areas like southern Portugal. And so it's really a beautiful grape variety, but really I think has a big impact on the nose of this wine.
It's
What do you
really, has a lot going on.
Hey, Lydia, it's been a while, and I'm so happy you guys are here.
We're happy to be here
Yeah,
too.
happy to be here.
Yeah, we've had a confluence of things where we weren't available or we were in surgery
Life
or
happens.
something like that. I don't know. But we're happy to be here.
Had quite a bit of life happening myself. My wife had emergency surgery about 2 weeks ago, had her gallbladder removed, and
Wow.
I was left to nurse her, and that is a job. When she was having to take some heavy meds every 4 hours, and was really incapacitated for an extended period of time. It was stressful and pretty hard. I wasn't able, because I had to wake up every 4 hours and give her medicine. I wasn't able to sleep for weeks.
Yeah.
And we're still getting our balance back. I can't even sleep through the night yet. So I'm still trying to get my wheels greased back up.
Wow. Wow. And she's all right?
She's doing great now. Yeah, she went from terrible to great in a couple of days. It just took a while.
Fantastic.
But now that the gallbladder's out, look out. She's going to be on a rampage. She loves it. All right. Moving into wine number 3. How you feeling? Can you feel how that second wine just like obliterated your palate, just kind of woke everybody up? That's like an espresso. And that thing is singing with acidity. When I tell you, in blind tastings, you line up wines from all over the world. They all have signature things, we call them markers that you look for, you notice. And one of the things you're going to notice in Italian wines is the way your teeth kind of rattle for minutes after tasting them, because the acidity is really punctuated, and that's a marker for Italian wines. And these wines have those signature Northern Italian aromatics, acidity profile, linear, drilling, drilling, and so good with great food. Wonderful, and not just Italian food, but so much of this particular moment in our growing season is so lovely with these wines. Just went to great restaurant. It reminds me, zucchini blossoms are out right now. Wow, if you're good with those things, that's one of the greatest dishes on the planet, especially if you know how to do them well. Maybe a little tempura batter on the outside. Just a little bit of a blend of soft cheeses stuffed inside. Oh my God. Any great Italian restaurant probably has that on the menu right now. Of course, all the vegetables are coming in now. Just really a magic time for freshness. The stone fruits are coming in now. One of my favorite times of the year for salads, because a stone fruit salad instead of tomatoes really does amazing stuff. We have this white vinegar on our website. If you've never tried it before, white balsamic with a little olive oil, salt and pepper. You replace tomatoes with stone fruits. Plumats are really a good choice. Nectarines are awesome. They don't even have to be that ripe. Just a little bit of cucumbers, some red onions, some fresh lettuces, other seasonal things with some white vinegar and olive oil, salt and pepper. Boom. No salad dressing, just that. You'll love it. All right. Moving into our next phase here. We were at 39.95 on the Keber. I did take a pretty healthy position on this wine. We had 39 bottles when we went to production of this Zoom, probably something very similar to that right now. Okay, so now we hope everybody can see the screen. We're going a little different location in Italy, and we're heading over to Piedmont. Piedmont, famous for Barolo. There's some other white wines that kind of took up the oxygen for a while in that area. Wines like Cortese de Gavi, still nice, but Timorasso came raging back in the last 5 years. I hope maybe some of you hadn't heard of it, and I'm the one that introduced you to it. Many of you either were with me in Italy when we drank some of this, or have been there yourself, and you know that Timorasso is on its way back to fame. It was a variety that was planted long ago. They probably weren't making it the right way, and some people worked with it a little bit more and decided to try it in a different rendition, and that's what we're looking at today. Um, just a little bit more of a firm, no wood, stainless steel, crisp, bright, aromatic, focused on freshness, not round and rich and creamy and heavy. This wine's got a good amount of body to it and comes from a really important white wine or red wine region. So it's wonderful to have a companion white. And there's quite a few other options up here too. There's some really wonderful bubbles that have come around from Piedmont as well. But this particular grape variety, made by the House of Vietti, purchased about maybe 15 years ago. Um, the operators of Vietti were able to sell for a good amount of money to a very wealthy owner, Kyle Kraus, and his investors, and um, and the current winemaking team that was at Vietti transitioned to buying their own land, making their own wine for their own family instead of the large Vietti group. And so a little bit of a transition, and some really wonderful things happened, but Vietti's maintain a very high level. And there's Castiglione Filetto is a wonderful town, wonderful appellation for the varieties, and a great place to visit. And Vietti's a great place to visit as well. And here it is, 100% Timorasso. Pear and peach, as well as floral notes like acacia and hawthorn. Can age. Um, Here we're tasting, I think it is the 22. That bottle's out of reach right now, but I think it is the 22. And um, and you've got a few years with this wine to be able to play and watch it kind of melt into position. But on the youthful side, you'll smell a little less of the fruit, a little bit more minerality, and then that fruit just continues to kind of take ground. I think it's in a wonderful place here, right around 3 years in the bottle. As I said before, it was a variety that had some traction, but then kind of went into this downward trajectory. Maybe it was the way they were making it, maybe it was just the moment, but they kind of brought it back to health as a variety, and it's really spreading rapidly as producers realize it's wonderful to have a complementary white. And so you're seeing it from many of the great Barolo producers. This wine, 91 points, Wine Advocate, classic Timorasso, herbal edge, uh, with layers of aromas and flavors. The nose offers up crisp green apple, lemon pith, hinting at the wine's vibrant character. On the palate, the green apple notes become more pronounced with a tart quality that adds a freshness. The lemon pith brings a bitter, zesty dimension, complementing the wine's herbal undertone, which evokes sensations of fresh crushed thyme and sage. And I think that's a very good thing to focus on. Think of crushed thyme and sage as you smell, but just right below that really wonderful apple and lemon pith note. Really savory, and different. And here you look at the many facets, like the facets of a diamond, where the grapes are grown, and you're looking at a number of Nebbiolo vineyards, but you'll have some rows of Timorasso planted. Maybe it's in different types of soils or expositions that maybe the Nebbiolo doesn't thrive in. We're looking at just around $40. This is a leader in this variety. You probably don't see Timorasso any much less than $30. And this is kind of I wouldn't say on the higher end, but it's it's definitely one of the better brands of Italy, and they're known to be one of the better producers. I welcome to sell out of this wine. I already have a case of the 23 in house, but we will sell the 22 first, which is in great shape, and we'll move into the 23 when the 22 is gone. I don't think there's much of a price increase on the 23, but it is in line. This wine tends to have a little bit more muscle, and those tannin, or not tannins, but acidity is a little more drying here. But wonderful texture, silkiness, roundness. I could see, using this kind of like, the Chardonnay of Italy if you want. It has kind of a lot of those same tendencies, but finishes distinctly Italian, distinctly Timorasso. This weekend, I have, recently we reopened our education center in downtown LA in the beautiful, tranquil arts district, pretty far removed from, any uh, situations that we're confronted with in downtown, which has multiple pockets of different types of things happening. I've been in downtown pretty much my entire adult life. I kind of grew up in Santa Monica, and then but I started in downtown. I moved to Santa Monica, and then I came back when I saw it was a really good opportunity for me to buy something and to create something, because they have really wonderful and favorable live work conditions in the arts district. So I have this really cool 2,000 square foot loft that has a wonderful spot where I can have classroom. I could have 24, 30 students in there at a time. Tend to be happy with 12 to 18 at this time, but it's our hardworking classroom. It's a wonderful destination. We're right next to Girl and the Goat and Bavel and Earth Cafe, and they might as well change the name from Arts District to the Coffee District, because we have like 75 coffee shops within walking distance, and a lot of them are just really spot on great. So come and join me in the Arts District this Saturday. Howlin' Raisin Fried Chicken. Got about 4 spots left, actually, before this one sells out. All right. Feeling good. Seeing a couple chats. Love that you like that, Stephanie. It is a white wine. The Timorasso is very much a white wine that I think red wine fans will really appreciate. It has quite a bit to offer, very generous, not just super thin and high in acid, but really has that textural thing. And man, you need something with all that beautiful food Dave is going to make, especially in the season. This is a wonderful transition wine, especially if the temperatures get a little higher. Man, that with some grilled fish, really, really great. Um, One of the dishes I had that Timorasso with many years ago, just need to speak about it for a second, is that they made this pasta dish with all of these fresh seasonal vegetables right about April, and um, green peas, um, fresh beans, like almost like a fava or a lima bean type of a thing. These big green, beautiful beans, uh, and both those things together in quantity with some pasta, you think it's a little bitter. Okay, so how do they get rid of that? Kind of balance it out. They take the yolk of an egg, big, like so almost orange, and just toss the yolk into the pasta with these fresh green steamed vegetables, and it made this incredible sauce, um, little parmesan on top maybe or something like that, and it was just so beautiful. And man, that wine right there with all of that would be spectacular. And so will the same with the next wine, where this is a legend. It's called Batàr. Glad you liked my description, Teresa. You could do it at home. Get those beautiful, expensive eggs from the grocery store with the really orange yolks. And that is just really something heavenly to work with, whether it's steak tartare or a vegetable salad type of thing. Good. All right. Querciabella. This is a great Tuscan producer. Um, and we've got the 2020 Batàr, 95 points. This is a pretty serious wine. Now we're in Tuscany, and this is a producer famous for making great Chianti, which we have carried for years and still have in stock. Querciabella Chianti is outstanding. And Manfred Eng is the winemaker. This property is completely biodynamic. You can see the biodiversity within the vines there. They're planting flowers and legumes and all types of things to keep the vineyard healthy. They rotate those every other row. It gives the people that work those vineyards a chance to access the vines, kind of tend to things on both sides, and then keep that ground being fed all the nutrients. And you rotate those crops every year, every season, every month, whatever it is. They kind of program the regimen that they create there. But biodynamics is a lot of work, and one of they replace chemicals with the foot of the winemaker walking through the rows, lots of time hanging over the vine and taking really great care of the vineyard, which is why biodynamics really does work. Significant producer, about 220 acres. So that's a good amount of wine on the beautiful slopes. And we are in the Chianti zone. This looks like Chianti, even the rolling hills, um, really a majestic place. This is a 50% Chardonnay and 50% Pinot Blanc. And this is a pretty famous type of blend for the area. A lot of Tuscan producers either make a wine. There's some other people that have great Chardonnays in the area. There's other people that make just great Pinot Blancs in the area. But this particular wine is a blend of Pinot Blanc and Chardonnay, and it drinks really gorgeously, continues to add weight and complexity. They hold this wine back a few years because in its youth, it doesn't have the generousness that we're going to experience now. But, for the next 10, 15 years, this wine will continue to develop, put on some weight, some color, some complexity. I would love to show you this wine with even more like 10 years on it, but it's in a great place to show it. This is where you get to buy it about now. In 5 years from now, I'll probably be selling the 25. 95 points in the Decanter magazine, focused on the sage, thyme, and citrus character. Also note this wine does see a little bit of thyme and some French oak. because it's made it's called Batàr because it is their effort to emulate something like a Batard Montrachet. Or as they say here in the description, a Corton Charlemagne. Both Grand Crus and very, lots of people in Tuscany are making references to the wines of France. You've got the great super Tuscan wines like Sassicaia, kind of giving homage to Bordeaux. You've got the super Tuscan blend thing happening everywhere. Great Chardonnays like Burgundy. So there's a lot of references here. This is a really successful house, the House of Querciabella. They've gone back many, many years. They've done things very well. They have an international distribution at a very high level where their wines are not the least expensive. They do everything at a pace and a cost that people are willing to follow them to. And this wine is $130. It is a wine I only get a few bottles a year. I only have 3 remaining of the 2020. The 21s are not out yet. Maybe I have 2 of these left, maybe 3. We'll see. I think we're down to 2. Smell that stone, that just a wonderful kind of hint of richness that you're going to get there. You can see it in the color. It's just starting to release it. This is really like showing you a baby. Optimally 3, 4, 5, 10 more years on this wine really will add more and more delicious curves and roundness to this wine. Just count the seconds. Keeps going and going. And that finish is so pretty. It's like it's just slowly curling back and drying out your palate just oh so nicely. Last week I did an awesome dinner. Awesome if you like white wine, and awesome if you like seafood. We just had an incredible experience being able to go to um, there's a restaurant in LA called Providence, and last week we were at Connie and Ted's, and the chef there, his name is Sam. He put forth a menu of dishes that he doesn't often get to do, like a really nice coursed menu. And so we started off the night with champagne. This was a celebration of the great white wines. And we started off with champagne, and we had incredible fresh oysters and shrimp that were just so special, spot on, so fresh. Then we went to a second course, which was what was my second course? I think that was the lobster course. And then we had like a lobster bisque and a lobster roll. And wow, it was just so decadent. And we had Batàr with the lobster dish, with the lobster course. So we went from champagne to that, and just one amazing seafood dish after another. We've got Columbia River salmon, super fresh salmon, this gorgeous red flesh salmon from Washington. That was the course. We had just great dishes. Check out Connie and Ted's. If you want to meet me there on the 15th of October, that's my birthday. I sit at the bar for 4 hours and just have people come and have drinks with me. And we sit there and eat oysters and do all kinds of stuff throughout the whole day. No need to RSVP, just show up, and they're prepared. And I just have a good time seeing people I haven't seen for a while. and keep it wide open and just kind of sit there and enjoy myself. And so that's Connie and Ted's. It's one of my favorite places.
One of our favorite places too. It's so good.
Awesome. I'm so glad you like it. What's
Yeah.
your favorite?
Sorry. Oh, love the oysters. I could just
I love the
lobster roll.
the clam chowder too. The white clam chowder is one of my faves. Crab cake there is remarkable.
Yeah. Does it have the Portuguese?
Portuguese fisherman stew is good.
Ooh, I don't know that one. I'll have to try that.
It's a little bit like bouillabaisse or like a cioppino kind of thing. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would have been there, but there was a little surgery that was in the way.
Oh, I'm glad you're
It all went well.
okay. Good. Good. Yeah. I had to leave my wife alone, so I went and did that one myself. So,
Mm.
but fantastic. We'll do that again too with Connie and Ted's because that went so well. And
Great.
seafood's got seasonality just like all of our vegetables and foods too. So it'll be different menu in the later in the year when we go back there. All right. Let me get my slideshow back open and let's see where that went. There we go. Hope you enjoyed the Batàr. Share the Zoom. Again, if you went to like a top Italian restaurant somewhere and you wanted special wine off the menu, they would probably have this one. It's pretty specially allocated for the top Italian restaurant accounts and a little difficult for the retailers to get. Same with this guy. This is one of the founding fathers of Sicily and Mount Etna. This is Salvo Foti. And this is a really special brand. And I'm doing some business with their importer. They know I went there when I went to Sicily. And so we had a really great experience with this producer. And I was able to get a small allocation, but the really highly allocated stuff is the super old vine wines, which I have on the website. They sell for an entirely different price point. They get quite collectible. And so this one's the kind of the easier, softer, gentler one that we're going to try here, but still rare to get. I get a case of 12 and we just got it in stock. It's the 23 vintage. So I've decided to add it to this event just to kind of continue to pay it forward as we visited this producer and had an awesome experience. We're in Sicily, Catania, where wines like Marsala, Nero d'Avola, Grillo, Insolia, and so many others are grown, and that's where Salvo Foti is based. The winery dates back to 1435. So that's saying something right there. 30 total hectares of vineyards, very much under the influence of the volcano. You can see the wood stakes in the ground. That's how they do it. One stake per vine. They're not wired. They're kind of trained to the stake. They had this brand was really kind of the founder of how things would be done, what grape varieties would be planted, how they would be farmed, how the wines would be made. They had these little winemaking facilities called palmettos, and they even name them with special names and make single palmetto wines. There were lots of these little winemaking facilities. One of the hotels we stayed at, and one of the guests actually that we were traveling with stayed in the 300-year-old palmetto, which was the winemaking facility. It was a very large room with a little, bed and nightstand in it. I don't know how that felt, but uh, it was pretty cool to stay in the winemaking room. They weren't making wine anymore for the last 100 years. They haven't been using that room, but it was all made out of stone and really dramatic and really cool. Um, so this is a grape here is called Caricante, and Caricante grown in the volcanic rich soils takes on this crazy character. I really believe this is a serious future in the world of wine, not just in Italian wine. In this particular wine, they also have 10% Manila Bianca, which is also a grape variety grown in this area. Some people use this variety in their blend, some people don't, but Caricante is the main player here. You can see how the vine is trained to the stick, and so the vine can grow up the stick, and the varieties stick pretty close by. Um, and this is so that the shadowing, um, uh, they can take and train the vine to avoid the shadows from hiding the fruit. And so that's the style that they've done it, and it's very traditional to this area. Another region of the world that does something like this is the Mosel, who maybe learned this from this island, because I believe this predates the Mosel planting in this style. Anyway, here's a picture of the current generation of Salvo Foti and the 92-point score for the wine that we're trying. Let me get it in my glass. Creamy texture from phenolics with lemon, apple blossom, hints of other citrus, a blend of Caricante and Manila. This is naturally fermented. Everything with Salvio Foti is natural. Natural fermentations, bottled without additional sulfur. They're on the side. These people live on the side of a volcano. They think they're like almost spirit animals living on the side of the volcano. They don't know how long they're going to be around. That's kind of the edge that you develop when you live on the side of the volcano. It's still active and blowing as we probably sit here today. And so these guys have a real natural path style. This is considered a natural wine. There is the vineyard, there is the volcano. You can see what I'm talking about. This is $47. It is considered an Etna Bianco. Sometimes they're called Etna Biancos, and they have a Caricante blend, and sometimes they're pure Caricante. Minerality kind of really steals the show a little bit around the volcano, the Mount Etna volcano. You feel that texture. It's unlike anything else. It's got kind of this richness to it that'll continue to unwind. Okay, this is a baby. This is the 23. You could drink this now and enjoy it in this state, or you can wait 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20. We don't know. Uh, it, it, there's not very many restaurants with 20-year-old Caracantes available. These wines have grown in importance and in personality in the wine list world drastically, especially since what's the name of that show that just finished in Thailand? But they did the same show in Sicily. What's the name of that show? It's on HBO.
White Lotus.
Thank you. White Lotus. It was coming to me. I just had the Lotus part. Thank you. White Lotus. As we were there, or on our way there, White Lotus was exploding. We had already booked our trip, thank God, ahead of the movie, or the TV show, but there wasn't a room to be had anywhere on the island. And in fact, I had to close my trip because every place was putting outrageous price increases in place because the demand was off the Richter scale. If you haven't seen The White Lotus in Sicily, absolutely go watch it. It's phenomenally entertaining and a great watch. Um, uh, Lots of crazy stuff happens. It's hard to predict in that show. It wasn't about wine, but it was certainly about good for Sicily. And if you're in Sicily, you can't help but drink the wine, and all the wines are benefiting from Sicily because of that. And this producer was already a legend before that TV show. And every day that goes by, things are happening with the wines of Etna. About 6, 7 years ago, the Gaia family bought a huge chunk of vineyards on the volcano and built a magnificent winery. That's saying a lot when a family like Gaia will do that. And so you know that these wines will be really much more important, and I dare say much more expensive, because these wines, they're a lot of work, and the vines are pretty spread out because they don't want to overproduce. They want to keep that quality, that texture, that kind of that richness that you get there, that nuance of quality. And that'll only occur if you plant a certain way, and you also need vine age. So the investment here, they're waiting for the vines to get older and really create the best. And there are a lot of 100-year-old vines on Mount Etna now. Okay, that was my plug for going to Sicily. I can't wait to go back. I'm taking a group to Sardinia and Corsica next year. That trip is on the website. Please sign up if you're interested. If you look at it and you say, wait, he's charging $1, let me explain. There's a new thing in the internet where bots figure out where you can sign up for things for free. And I all of a sudden woke up one day and had 6,000 signups for my trips. I thought the trips were just getting popular, but they were all robots. And so I had all this interest, and I looked, in the email extensions are all these bot addresses. So we had to purge all that. And the only fix we could put in with Shopify that we could think of is to create a dollar discount code. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it right on the page to waive that $1 sign up fee. You just use code blah, 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 because the robots don't read the pages. They just know how to sign up for everything. And so that's why I have to do that. But it's a real pain in the ass, let me tell you. Also, we have pushed our trip to Spain to February of 2026 because it's just takes so much work. And with Alice going down and the deadlines that we were under, we just knew we weren't going to hit it. So we pushed our trip out into February to go to Spain. We still hope to do that. And we're going to present that probably by the end of next week. All right, moving into our final wine, and this one's a doozy. It's okay not to like it, but I think half of you will love it and half of you are going to hate it. When we tasted the Salvo Foti wine, that wine's been made naturally forever. Then comes along a trend of even more natural wine processes and more experimentation, and skin contact white is what we're about to taste here. This is a brand called La Stoppa. It's from Emilia Romagna. Ageno Bianco 2020. This is where all of our prosciutto comes from. You've got amazing cheese and all types of stuff. Emilia Romagna is a plentiful basket of so many different things. And Brusco. This producer, I believe these are the children of a traditional producer. Of course, the children grow up and become your nightmares sometimes, but they brought with them a lot of ideas, and they brought with, to this classic area, beautiful buildings, beautiful architecture. Malvasia, oh, there's that grape variety again, 10% or Trugo. I think it's a blend of a Trugo and Trebbiano. They don't even know how much it is. 10% of the two of those. And this is meant to be a full-bodied, spicied, almost honeyed wine, but they don't add honey. It's just because of the skin contact and everything, it creates all these characters. The aromas of rose, musk, chamomile, and thyme, flavors of rosewater, apple, oranges, rhubarb, notes of cinnamon and ginger on the finish. That's a lot. And this wine gives you a lot. Malvasia is a really impactful grape variety. It's fascinating. And here they did it with skin contact. So they didn't take the skins away. They fermented with the skins like a red wine would for a number of days and made basically an orange wine. This wine is an orange wine. They got 94 points from a classic publication called Vinous. Captivates with deep orange hue, blends of nostalgic nuances of sun tea with peach sorbet, tropical melon, tangerine, and mint. Love that. Weighty in feel, yet lifted and energetic. It washes across the palate with a liquid floral concentration and citrus infused apricot, underscored by crunchy minerals and spice. This leaves the senses reeling as its finish is youthfully tense and incredibly long, tapering off with a saline tinge offset by hints of candied lemon peel. That is wild even to describe it. There's so much complexity there. It's hard to imagine. And this is an orange wine. And I will say, if people aren't drinking wine today, maybe they would if they found something like this, because if traditional wine doesn't find you, maybe a different type of wine will. And I think this is this wine's secret weapon. The place is absolutely stunningly beautiful. And we're looking at 55 a bottle. You'll find this in some top cool hipster restaurants throughout Los Angeles. Probably be paying something like 120 to 150 bucks to drink it there. So I do sell a good amount of this wine because people are going to restaurants, being introduced to this wine and going, what the? I've never had anything like it. And there's only a handful of us that have it in the retail store. So I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's exciting. It is not something you're used to. It may offend you, but it is kind of blowing people up. And I'm going to look forward to your reaction to this wine. Also, let me just say, don't let the first impression shut you down. Let it kind of grow on you a little bit. Because even as I'm sitting here swirling it, it is taking over the room. That nose, just a nose alone, tells you there's something crazy going on here. It is so aromatic. I mean, that thing is like orange peels and ginger for hours.
Ian, what, what,
Yeah,
what would you eat with this?
alligator. No.
Good answer.
I mean, I think anything that you might play around with the ginger category, you know, foods with the ginger, the food.
Gingerbread cookies?
Hmm.
Sushi?
Maybe, yes, sushi would be interesting. They take the little ginger, chop it up, and put it with that. Maybe things with like a candied or a chutney type of a dish, probably some Indian curry. Probably, I mean, there is like this generosity here that kind of comes off with the fragrances and stuff that tell you sweet. But is this wine sweet?
Not really.
Not really. It
When
finishes.
when I smelled it, I thought it was a dessert wine, and then I tasted it and I was thrown off.
Hmm.
Yes.
That's kind of what I like about it is it really does throw you off your what? I mean, it's just it's explosive and it's got all the markers of a skin contact, natural wine, little bit of that vinegar kind of thing happening. So you can even play off of that with your dishes. Um, I just think there's probably some incredible chef that this wine is going to be like either really good. Here's the thing about this wine. I actually think this wine will bend to a lot of different dishes. My wife being Chinese, one of the major food components that we eat is this steamed chicken with a ginger sauce. It is like one of the most consumed things in Chinese food land by the Chinese. It's a big, almost like yellow chicken that's cut up all over the place. Take a piece of that and you dip it in the ginger. Now, getting the Chinese to drink this wine, that might be tougher,
Right.
but such a good pairing.
We're pairing it right now with like sweetened nuts,
Okay.
and I think it's working.
Yeah. Well, if you like the wine, it's working. But the wine just has so much personality and it's pretty persistent. And the ginger play might some people might think it overwhelms some foods. It might just overwhelm you, but just let it sink in a little bit, let it play around a bit. I think the first time I tasted it, I literally like, whoa. And then like 30 seconds later, I went back in and tasted it again. I'm like, hmm. And 30 seconds later, I went back in, tasted it again, and go, this is really growing on me. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where I think it has an opportunity. It's kind of make people see that maybe this natural wine thing has some something to offer us when it's done well. And this producer has already proven themselves on a number of occasions to be able to replicate this. And I just really think they've got a pretty interesting formulaic thing here happening that is pretty significant. Now, $55 is not an inexpensive wine, but for something that is so impactful and so memorable that the people are, you're going to great restaurants like Bestia has it. A restaurant in LA called Donna's has this wine. Um, and restaurants that, better restaurants that carry a lot of natural wines, this would be something you might see around. There's even a red version of this wine. I don't have the red right now, but I prefer the white. And just this wine's, got some, I think something really special. Alice. Actually reminds me of the only time I ever had mead. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, comparing it to the normal wines, it's kind of impossible. Briny, that's interesting, Stephanie. I think so too. That's a really cool way to think of it. Yeah, it's definitely got a lot of like interesting, like almost like beer IPA kind of characteristics. And I just think that this is something that can maybe wake some people up to some different ideas about wine, especially white wines. I mean, we were on a path where people were drinking mostly reds, and I did think wines like this could really, you know, change some trajectories, some ideas, and it'll offend some people, no doubt. But it's fun to be able to share these things with you and to show you some different stuff. Um, couple people couldn't make it tonight to join us, but we'll watch the video. I'm looking forward to you guys giving me some feedback. Um, but yeah, try this wine. And if you have a little sip left, here's what's kind of cool about this wine too. You open it up and it stays like this for a couple of days. It's There's no additional sulfur on this wine. It is really natural. And so it's pretty interesting. And all the wines tonight have a high relevance in the wine marketplace, high reputation. I hope you enjoyed a couple of them more than the others. Use your discount code. You've got till Thursday night to take advantage of that as a participant in this Zoom. That code works on all the wines on the website, and would love to deliver some wine to you on Friday. If you order today, we'll be able to do that, or next Tuesday. If you're in LA, if you're out of the marketplace, our shipping program stays as it is, and we ship every day. Tomorrow is actually a holiday, but we'll be back in the office on Friday, getting everything out according to plan. If you order the wines tonight, we'll probably ask you if you want delivery on Friday as soon as the order comes in. But that's how we do it around here. We've got a really fun lineup of upcoming Zooms as well. I want to spend a second taking a look at that. See, I got it here. Looks like is it already next week? Is that right? Date right? That doesn't look right. Something's missing there. That's the 20, what is that supposed to be? The 18th. So today's the 18th, next week's the 25th. So there is a 5 missing right there. Let's take a look. Wednesday the 25th, 7 p.m. We're doing a collectible cab tasting. This is really going after it. I want to show you it's $125 a tasting kit. You will taste 2 100-point wines, one 99-point wine, and a 96 and a 97. These are absolutely top of the food chain wines. Probably one of the best wines I've ever had out of Washington, called From the Sky Down. It's a single vineyard you'll be hearing about, I'm pretty sure. Quite phenomenal. That's out of Washington. Vine Hill Ranch, last year's #1 wine in the world in a famous publication, and 100-point wine from a very famous French winemaker, Francois Pichon, in Napa Valley. Uh, that is, I'm so looking forward to this Zoom, because when you get 100 points on wines like this, guys like me only get to taste them on things like this. The sales company does not say, "Would you like to try this wine?" You just say, they say, "Do you want some? Because there's none, and I'm going to sell it all today." And I say, "Oh, 100 points, #1 wine in the world. Sure, I'll take some." So we've got one swack at it. Primray, incredible story I'll be able to tell you about next week. Incredible story. And 100 points, Mount Feeder. Myriad, Mike Smith, winemaking genius. Beckstoffer, Dr. Crane. This is 200, 300, 360, 260. And then the Maybach family, yes, that Maybach family, Ammonius 2021, 97 points. Really special lineup. Going to take our time next week, 5 wines, and join us if you want to do that. After that, next week, we've got our calendar now published probably through August. August is published, and we have probably some of September coming on before next week. You'll see the September Zooms. All of them have been kind of written and calendared. Whether we've had time to publish them on the website, that's another story. But we've talked about Collectible Cab. We've got July 2nd coming into the holiday weekend. We're with my friend Gil, and we just picked up a bunch more new stuff out of Baja. I think you'll really like that lineup. Greatest in Sauvignon Blanc is coming up on the 9th of July. Phenomenal lineup. And the newest wines to taste and fall in love with. This is me being able to pick little wines throughout the store that are quite unique and just say, these are things you need to taste. These are the ones that really have impressed me, kind of like my greatest hits of the year so far, and some really kind of a fun lineup of stuff. 2025, look at top rosés in July. We're going to have July weather, and shipping in July kind of sucks. In fact, our little warehouse here is already starting to take on some inventory because people buy the wine and store it here until it cools down. If you're local, we shouldn't have any problems. We can get it out because of our courier. We go door to door. If you're in the state of California, ground actually ships overnight. So we should be good there. Out of the state, we got to be a little more careful, and we'll pick our dates. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope you had a fun time exploring some new ideas, maybe visiting some old friends. We'll be back in touch with you soon. And as always, thank you for being here. Do I have my Dodger hat? Yes, I do.
Uh-oh.
Thank you. Enjoyed it. Looking
How
forward
we doing tonight? I haven't looked at the game at all. I'll be watching it now. I was at the game last night, and I could tell you the Dodgers-Padres rivalry is very much alive because they tried to kill each other last night. It might happen today. And your Giants there, Lisa. Wow. What
Yep,
a
mine
week.
too.
Rafael Devers just
Yeah, we got Devers.
Yep, we're happy about that.
how exciting. So that's good because I want you to beat the Padres. I don't want you to beat my Dodgers.
We want to beat the Padres too.
We want to beat everybody.
Awesome. Great to have you all here, and we'll talk to you next time. Don't forget to use your discount.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Ian.
you, Ian.
Arrivederci.
My pleasure.